Hey guys. Okay, survey says mindfulness is the #1 answer on how to relieve our anxiety and stress. If you missed the last video we put out, the question was, what helps you manage your anxiety, and can you let us know? So thanks for everybody for their comments, and special thanks to Debs and Dee for sharing with us mindfulness being a way. And yes, mindfulness does turn out to be the #1 way found to manage our anxiety. A broad definition of mindfulness would be to have a singular focus in the moment in a non-judgmental way. Okay, it's getting a little dark, hopefully you can see me. An example of this is just focusing on our breathing, in and out. When a thought pops into our head, not to label it good or bad, or in any way, just acknowledge it and let it fade away. That has helped me a lot. Also, what's helped me a lot with this process is seeing it as a push-up, which has two parts. First, the quieting the mind, which when I first started practicing, I thought it was the only goal. And when I couldn't stop the thoughts from streaming in, I thought I just couldn't do it correctly. And I ended up giving up. Fortunately, not completely though, because I moved to movement meditation, Tai Chi, which worked for me and got me to a starting point, at least in my journey. So the point is, quieting our mind is only half of it. The other half is our natural thoughts that pop up in our mind. When those thoughts pop up, it's actually how we build our mind muscle and our ability not to automatically label them good or bad, which then continue. If we do that, we know how that continues down a rabbit hole fairly quickly. So this practice will enable us to go through our day. When something does happen, we don't automatically have a knee-jerk reaction. Hopefully as often anyway, right? A simple example would be holding the door for somebody, and if they don't thank me, or maybe even acknowledge me, I don't automatically go into my head with a big story of why, which never, for myself anyway, leads anywhere pretty, right? So even if it was the only benefit that I've gotten from mindfulness, that would be a big deal. But what science shows, it seeps into all areas of our life in a highly positive way. Most rewarding for me has been the fact that it's helped me with my anxiety level, and that I now know not to go into that rabbit hole, and I'm not in the habit so much of going throughout most of my day looking in the rearview mirror, caught up in the past with a bunch of should and should-haves, usually with a lot of emotion attached, such as regret, resentment, anger. That would end up just totally stressing me out totally. When I wasn't caught up in the past, I would usually be doing the complete opposite, stressing about the future, the scary unknowns, and getting all tied up in that fear. It's usually only when I'm actually living in the moment that I realize I am okay, and possibly even doing better than just okay. My coaching, I usually attract entrepreneur-type people, or usually overachievers, and usually anxious and stressed to the point where it's becoming counterproductive. Now with these type of personalities, if I was to tell them right off the bat the best thing they could do is stop and sit and do nothing for a couple of minutes, it doesn't go over so well. And it takes a whole lot of explaining and time to convince. But I know if we start with a conversation about where you are now and where you want to go, and then work backwards to come up with a daily task to have the most important effects to move us in the direction we naturally want to go, we naturally start spending our day more intentionally without even realizing it being mindfulness. So when you hear me mention meditation and mindfulness, if your mind automatically goes to some new age woo-woo stuff, or possibly that it's tied to some type of religious practice, it's important to realize it's neither. Definitely not new age, been around since the beginning of recorded time. And also the advancement in neuroscience in the last couple of years has been able to prove how and why it's a #1 practice we could do for anxiety, and also helps a whole lot more, so many more areas. When I started practicing it, it was before the internet. So I had a lot of trial and errors But nowadays, there's so much info and guidance right at our fingertips, making it a lot easier to pick up this practice. I would say, though, when you do start, please start with small, easy, tiny steps in mind. Because it's natural for us to overestimate what we could do in a few days and then quickly become disillusioned. As opposed to starting by taking some small steps, knowing that just in a matter of weeks, these small steps will start to compound and you'll have started a significant shift in your life. So there we go. Number one way to relieve our anxiety is through mindfulness. The only thing I'd like to add to all this is next time we hear the PSA announcement on how important it is, proper hygiene is, and that we should be washing our hands often and for at least 20 seconds, wouldn't it be nice if they also mentioned the importance of mental hygiene, and that we should be also washing often and for at least 20 seconds? Okay, I really hope that thought sticks in your mind, and also that we might have planted a seed. If you are struggling with anxiety, that maybe mindfulness can be helpful. Okay, that's it, guys. That's all I have on my mind for the moment. I hope something we've spoken about gets you a little curious about ways you can live a more peaceful, meaningful life with some joy and laughter, maybe. And that's it today, guys. I do want to start doing videos a little bit more often. I have a lot of what I believe is valuable info I'd like to put out. So I'm going to say right now live that at least every other day I got to start doing it. This helps me a lot. Hopefully it helps you somewhat. And if I make the promise to myself at least every other day to start doing this again, I'd like to think I'm the type of person that when I make a promise to myself, I follow through. And knowing that I just said it and other people heard it, and will know if I don't show up in 2 days that I'm not following through. Hopefully that's helpful. That's it for today, guys. Love you. Peace out. Have a good